We are live. Welcome, everybody. We are having a special show today. We are talking about one of my absolute favorite and Findlay's biggest groups that they support, Aces and Traces, with a couple special guests. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves, and we'll get right into it.
Go ahead.
So Larry Kendrick, I am the president of Traces and also the general manager at Mojave Resort Golf Course and Hukon Golf Club.
Hi, I'm James Hamilton. I'm a local realtor, but I'm here today to speak about the Bullhead City Barracudas, which I am the president of that organization.
Yeah. So it was kind of a good timing of things because you and I were talking about some stuff, and it was time for us to get out here, get ready for Aces Traces season. We're talking golf tournaments, award shows, athlete of the year, all that stuff. And we were talking about Barracudas, and you had mentioned getting involved. Tell us a little bit about where you found out about Aces Traces. I know you have a long history of athletic children out there in the world. So tell us a little bit about where you got introduced to Aces and Traces and what brought you in here.
Well, actually, I was introduced, I heard about it just previously through the last few years, but really heard about it last year when my daughter Emily was a finalist for the Scholar Athlete of the Year. So I had an opportunity to, sit in with through the award ceremony, and it was a really, really nice event. And I saw that one of the other local sports, the Bullhead City, I believe Little League was a sponsor.
Mojave.
Oh, Mojave,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah.
And that gave me the idea of, hey, you know what? I think this would be a good organization and a good thing to maybe partner up with and see what we can do. And then I reached out to you and Larry, and decided we're going to go ahead and sponsor, be one of the sponsors for the ACE Awards. And then we're going to do a couple T-Box sponsors through the Barracudas, and then one through my real estate.
Awesome.
So we actually, this is kind of exciting because we don't ever get to do this stuff. More often than not, it's just through the mail or, but you actually have some checks here.
Yes.
Sponsorship forms. So tell me what we got, and I want to give everybody their recognition here. So what do you got first for us here?
Well, I'll do the smaller ones first. I'd like to give Larry, there's a check from the Bullhead City Barracudas. We'll do a T-Box sponsor.
Awesome.
And then also I would like to do one for my real estate.
Greatly appreciate it. For everyone, these one T sponsor is one kid. That's how we look at it. It takes anywhere from $75 to $100 to get a kid into, whether it be basketball, baseball, any sport. It's no longer free. So that's kind of our motto with this now, is that for every T sponsor we get, that's one more child we get to sponsor. So thank you for that. You just sponsored 2 kids for this upcoming year.
Yes, absolutely. And just a quick, before we get to that, just a quick reminder, we have been supporting, what were we up to last year? And
450 kids last year we actually sponsored, and it was over $40,000.
$40,000 sponsor of kids who would not have been able to, or may have had a financial hardship getting into their sport of choice, whatever that may be. So it is much appreciated. Thank you so much. And I think we all know the importance of getting your kid involved in something they care about. They build a community around, friendships, all those other things. So with that being said, you got one more there with an extra zero.
The board, we voted, and we're going to go ahead and do a $1,500 package sponsorship for the ACES Awards. So
that is wonderful.
Man.
We've got, of course, the ACE Awards is where we originally started. We thought about years ago, we can don't want to get into the same old repetitive thing again, but 6-7 years ago, we decided we want to do an awards banquet to recognize kids similar to the CAA Awards here. And what that ended up being was the ACE Awards, standing for Athletics, Community, and Education Stars. After the event was over and how big of a success, we still thought we could do more. What was that more? And so, well, why don't we start a 501c3 and let's start helping the kids that can't afford to get into the sport so that 6 or 7 years down the road, they can be up here actually getting some of these awards. And that's what it turned, it was in 2021 that we actually became, or 2020, excuse me, that we became a nonprofit. Great year to do anything, right? During COVID. So
perfect timing.
Yes. So it was immediately a success in terms of what we were trying to do, anything to help the youth in the community. And what that has turned into now is literally 400 to 500 kids a year that we're sponsoring around in this community, which is just awe-inspiring to see the support we get from not just Findlay, but who's been our main primary sponsor for the ACE Awards and helping out with the Traces as well, which is Tri-State Athletics, Community, and Education Stars. We help from Laughlin to Needles, but groups like Dots have been there with us from day one. We have so many sponsors. We'll put something up in a little bit to actually show all the
Yeah,
sponsors.
I do want to get into the sponsors, and I want to talk about what the number one thing is, and that's the kids. I mean, we have found some amazing kids over the years, and I don't want to make it too weird or anything, but I had seen what you posted. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have the picture I sent you just a moment ago? Obviously, we recognize this young lady through Aces Traces, but tell us a little bit about what you posted here.
Well, through her high school, she was and I kind of made a little joke about it, how as a sports dad, I was a little bit disappointed that she didn't pursue her education and go swim in college. But through the high school, they do have a firefighter program. So her senior year, she was actually able to do the fire academy as part of her first part of her school day.
Yes.
And then at night, she did EMT classes. Well, once she got her EMT certification, she was able to work at the ER while she's still working on the firefighter aspect of it. And she's been at Warm C for a couple months now. And the other day, she had a situation where somebody came in and she had to perform CPR on them, and she was able to revive the patient and basically save that patient's life.
That is awesome.
Very nice.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
That is our youth
young
in this
lady.
community.
That
Yeah.
is amazing. And I kind of understand exactly what you're saying, because I think we all have a vision for what we think our kids'
Right.
paths should be, and the reality is they take their own path. But they're a great kid. They're going to do great things, and so very cool. And it's very fun to see what some of these kids are doing that we've been involved with over the years.
Yeah, and you mentioned the firefighter program. I just became aware of that last year, and I think that we saw a lot of kids actually that we interviewed for ACES that are going through that program. And we try to build our youth to be the best they can be. Being in sports, I think, is a big part of that. But to see them actually wanting to stay in the community now and work within this community and give back to this community that gives me goosebumps.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's like, they're not in a big hurry to get out of here. They're in a big hurry to give right back to the same community that's given to them. So I think that's
It
really
kind of all ties in too, just about like the Barracudas and what you were talking about. It's funny, one of my daughter's competitors was another Danica, who was in the fire program with her.
Oh yeah.
So two of the three Scholar Athletes of the Year were actually in that firefighter program.
Yeah, that's neat. That's
And then
neat.
last year we had three former Barracudas that were finalists: Kingston,
Yeah.
Emily, and then Julio.
That's right.
They all were, maybe not current, but they were long-standing swimmers with the Barracuda program. So
I feel the same way about football. If I coached them for one and they go do something good, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'll
I mean,
claim that one. I'll
that's
take
me,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just saw Kingston. I don't know if you guys are friends with folks
Oh,
on
yeah.
Facebook.
Oh, absolutely.
Contributing to a very good team in
Yeah.
college
Yeah.
up in Grinnell.
He actually just reached out to me about a month ago and
really?
thanked us again because I got to meet him as father, of course, and then they stopped by the house, got the $300 check that showed me that where his intent was, and he just actually reached out and just told me thank you again.
Yeah, very cool. He, I believe their team either won their conference or made the playoffs. They just had a game, and it's interesting because he's such a good athlete,
Yes.
and he's finding a role as a freshman on that team, and watching him develop into an even better basketball player is very fun to watch. So, very cool to see what all these young folks that we get a chance to meet, and we talk about all the time, the interview process, meeting these kids, listening to what they say and what they struggle with and what they've overcome. I mean, getting to know the kids is amazing.
Yeah, it's the fun part, and it's also tear jerking too at the same time. It's always is. I don't think I've done a set of interviews in the last 6 years where at some point that I was fighting back the tears. You know what I mean? And it's tears of joy, and it's tears of being proud of the kids and what they're over. The path in life is not easy, and even for our youth, it's not necessarily always easy. And to see our young youth in this community overcoming things and being able to endure through it and come out build it better on the other end, it just lets you know that the next generation is going to be just fine.
Did your daughter tell you about the interviews? She's like, it was so awkward.
Well, I was actually, we were talking about it earlier. As just when she gets to know somebody, she won't shut up. But the interviews, like for Athlete of the Week, Athlete of the Month that you did with her, and she was like, I was so nervous. I was so excited, to win those awards and, to be nominated for a Trace or ACE award. And she goes, but just, I don't like public speaking. And, it's funny because she was actually eligible for valedictorian, but because she took the firefighter class, she had to, I guess, break her honor code or whatever, because she wasn't able to take all the honor classes. And she's like, well, I'm not that disappointed because I don't know if I really wanted to speak in front of 3,000 people at the field house. So, but I was mentioned earlier how those type of things are such a benefit. The interview processes that you do with the athletes of the week and the traces.
It's just like doing an interview for a job. And it's selling yourself.
I know, it's helped her when she's, had to discuss things with the fire department and, her EMT and stuff like that. So, you may not see it right then and there, but these types of programs, and that's why, I was so adamant about being part of this is, I firsthand have seen the results, but, there's so many kids out there who struggle with public speaking and whatnot. And just even that little, 3 to 5 minute interview is a great benefit.
And it's also interesting because it is such a digital world and every kid's on their phone 24/7 allegedly, but they are very uncomfortable being outward or being in that world. And not that you have to, of course, but it is a part of it now. I mean, marketing is a legitimate part of what we're doing, and social media and all these other things, and it exposes people to that. And I kind of laugh because I have the luxury of seeing these kids sometimes as freshmen, sophomore, and then I see them as seniors on their way out, and watching them grow as people, as athletes. Some of them I just laugh when I look back at their early interviews, and you're interviewing a kid, and they're leaving a young man or a young lady, and it's
love seeing the growth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Well, and I'm sure you have families like, just using Kingston as an example, we've known Kingston and Paxton and the Bristols since, they're 8 years old and, grew up together in different sports and stuff like that. So, even though they're not your family, they're still your family. And I mean, you mentioned how, you love seeing someone who you've been maybe even just a small part of their lives to succeed and move on and do well. It's like one of your kids.
Yeah, I coached some Little League for a few years there when my kid was 7, 8, 9 years old, and now he's 14 in high school, and to see some of the other kids, I don't run into them as often, but they still remember me. I haven't aged too much, I guess, in the last few years, but it's like, hey, coach, it's like, and I'm looking at it, it's like the kid's 5'11", and I remember him like this, and it's just, it takes me back to, it's like, I made enough an impression on him that they remember those things. And that's something that we don't probably recognize enough is the coaching of youth in the area and people that do that as well.
You're really hitting kind of a hot button sore spot for me because good coaches are hard to find and they're hard to keep. It's a huge time commitment. It's not financially the best deal.
No.
And I feel like there's just maybe a lack of understanding or appreciation for what these coaches are putting in. It doesn't matter if you're a T-ball coach. You are committing a lot of time and energy. Or if you're, I'm always partial to high school football coaches, watching film for hours on end, not sleeping the night before a game or whatever, and then maintaining your life, job, whatever else. And it's something to be said that it's appreciated. It's one of the reasons why we recognize coaches. There are more than one great coach to be recognized or 3 finalists. But it's a great opportunity to let people know what they mean to the kids, the teams, the schools, the communities.
I remember my coaches from early days, and it's they laid an impression on me early on.
I just commented on my high school freshman football coach had it as his birthday, and I don't know who was the head coach, Coach Mello or Coach Walk, and they had commented, and I said, "Oh, look at that. Elite freshman football coaching duo back together again." You know?
Sure.
We're talking, that was 97.
Yeah.
97, I still think fondly of that. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yep. It's good times, good stuff. I do want to talk a little bit about programs we got going on. We got golf tournament coming up. Then we got Aces Awards.
Also have a bingo night in between that.
And a bingo night in between.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And if you don't know, man, that bingo night is so huge if you are, raising money, because pretty low overhead. A lot of times you spend a lot of money to make a little money.
Yeah.
Man, this bingo night is huge for us.
Sunrise Rotary does an amazing job with this. We were part of it 2 years ago. And they generated 20,000. Well, between them and us, bringing in the right people is what they tell me to do. Make sure you're bringing in the heavy hitters. But, to make $20,000 at one event is amazing, and they're doing this 4 times a year for nonprofits.
Right.
We're on again for May 1st for the Cinco de Mayo night at Los Lagos. I can't thank Sunrise Rotary enough for what they do for this community.
Yeah.
It's a
Their
big
golf
deal.
tournament's coming up.
Yes, there's
I
as
gotta get a
well.
hole-in-one card ready for Kirk. You just reminded me.
Yeah, I don't know what the date is on ours, but I do know the date on ours. The 17th is our Calcutta night at Mojave Resort, and then Saturday is the golf tournament itself. So still looking for T sponsors for that and players. So you can get your team signups. I think Jeff may have the flyer for the team signups. I know he has the one for the
There we go.
fly. Yeah, there's the flyer for the T sponsors that we're still looking for. So there's still an opportunity to support one kid. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
One T sponsor is one kid.
Yeah, and listen, every little bit helps, and whether you come out and play, you sponsor, whatever it is, it's all appreciated. And again, breaking down, if you have a kid in sports and they play 3 things a year, and each fee ranges between $50 and $150, it's very challenging. And one of the things that I always try to emphasize is it's the kids who it stresses out financially the most who probably need it the most. And you don't even see some of the kids that aren't there because their families can't afford to get them into everything.
Right.
And those kids have less resources. They need a little bit more help. And getting into something like that could change their life.
It does. It does. Really, sports can change a kid's life, especially the ones that don't get the opportunity as much as others. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've gotten letters so we used to have every parent reach out to us directly, until the point where I was getting 400 or 500 a year, and it was becoming overwhelming for me to be able to do all
It's a
the
bit
things.
much.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
way too much. And so, of course, we've changed the process a little bit to now we work directly with the programs and have them vet the parents, and then send us a list, which is a lot more efficient for me, maybe a little bit more for each one of the programs. But in the long run, I think it's a better fit for us to do because, again, it was a little overwhelming. But just to look at some of the letters I received for the request and finding out, single parents, grandparents, people on fixed
A lot
income,
of
and
grandparents.
4 or 5 kids in the home, and trying to pay for that much is daunting. My child's fortunate enough; he doesn't have to worry about that. But there's so many that don't, and I've gone out to these games and seen the results and these kids, it's humbling what we do, and I'm just so glad that we've been able to fill that void.
Yeah.
at
Now,
Chasers.
you had mentioned we actually have not worked with Barracudas before.
No.
So that's actually surprising, but maybe not as much because they have such a strong culture. They've been doing it for a very long time. It seems like you have a lot of siblings that come,
Yes.
family structure. What are some of the groups that have really benefited the most from this program?
So AYSO, Boys and Girls Club, Bullhead City League, Mojave Valley Little League, football programs around here, the Warriors, some smaller groups that we've sent one child to a football camp that was had an opportunity to go to Cowboy Stadium and play in a round robin tournament, helping someone like that. We've helped a college student that originally didn't want to continue her college and lost a grant for a potential athletic program, was going to go to Mojave College. Then she decided she wanted to play basketball, and so we worked with a group to help her with that swap so that she could go after that passion. So local programs, any 501c3, we're willing to work with. There's some like some of the baseball programs around here, traveling baseball programs, Storm. I can't name all of that. Insanity.
Venom, I think, or is that the softball?
There's so many.
Yes. We've worked with all of them. We just have to ensure that they're working as a 501c3. We will not work with one that is for profit.
Right.
That's kind of where we try not to delve into a little bit. So
Right.
unless it's a special request that I can take to the board, which
And really, it's tough because you're trying to help underprivileged folks or folks that, it's a burden to. And it's hard to tell sometimes. Like you're talking about, you getting 500, it's hard to vet everybody and be responsible.
yeah.
But you do.
Yeah.
I know at one point you're pulling your hair out,
Yeah.
going through all these
right.
emails.
Yeah, every night I'm coming home after an 8-10 hour day at work, and then I've got 2 hours of trying to vet through emails, and it just became to where it was we had to find a different way to do it.
So we
you know.
really appreciate all the help from the leagues. Is it the presidents, the treasurers that are kind of
Treasurers
sorting
I'm
through that?
working with,
A lot of them
president,
have player
treasurer.
agents or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we really appreciate it, and it makes we're hopefully you're seeing a difference in getting more kids out, more teams, more everything.
If
So,
you're not working with us and you want to, you obviously can get on our website and get the email that you need to respond to me with, or it's even got my phone number on it, and I'll pick up the phone. I get calls every day from a different organization that goes, hey, how do we do this, you know,
Yeah.
or parents, and then I'll tell the parents, of course, directly to the treasurer, and we'll work with the treasurer.
do any of the leagues not know? I know there's always new presidents, treasurers coming in.
So
or-
I sent out a mass email to all the treasurers that I knew were available, last fall. And after a tough year of me answering 500 emails, basically, and so they all had that information. Now, does that information get passed on to the treasurer, the new treasurer that might come in, because a lot of them are on a 2 or 3 year plan, and that's all they can do. I'm not for sure. So again, that's what something like this is about. Get onto our website, take a look, see what we can do for your.
Well, and
for your-
honestly, that's we know this stuff. Man, I love talking to you guys about community, sports, all the things that are out there. But the number one purpose of having you on here today is to let everybody know. A, to support the programs. B, if you have kids that need help, reach out, because we need the two ends to meet. If we're getting all the support and then we're not getting it there, that doesn't make any sense, and vice versa. So this is the number one reason why we're here talking today, is that we want to make sure, for one, we get the support. We really appreciate it. We're going to go through sponsors here in a second, some very exciting news. But we want to make sure it gets to the right places too. And the only thing that's worse than maybe sponsoring a kid who didn't need it is a kid who needed it and didn't get it.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
And that's, to me, that's just the first step is, just getting that child's foot into the door of whatever perspective activity or sport is, there's probably so much untapped potential and talent for whatever sport you're into, but they just can't get in because of financial constraints.
Yeah.
And like most sports, it's not just the initial registration. We were joking about it a little bit ago. It's just, the equipment,
Yes.
and stuff like that. And just, making sure the kids have every tool necessary to be successful. You don't want a child to say, I didn't have this.
Right.
Yeah.
If you give them every tool, then
I've
there's really no
spoken to
excuse.
treasurers just about that. And it's like, once the kids we've paid, they got them into the sport, and they come out there and they don't have cleats, and you can see that the glove is, not in the best shape. It's like, those kids that need the extra support.
Right.
We're willing to help with that very same thing. That's another opportunity for us to work with these treasurers and
And
stuff.
we talk about just getting kids into programs, and I bet you guys both have instances that are comparable. But I have seen it myself in football. I'll use kind of a baseball reference. There's always a baseball family who's got 5 gloves in the garage, cleats from last year because they outgrew them. And if you can get those kids into that team, that league, they meet those people, those folks are usually super generous.
Sure.
They're going to hand down that nice glove. Those gloves will last forever.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
unless
Yes.
you abuse them,
Right.
which is what your mom says you do. That's what I'm saying. But that equipment will last forever. It doesn't do any good to collect them. You hand them down, and then all of a sudden you got a little connection to that kid. That kid's proud they got a nice badass glove, and it makes a huge difference in everything they do. Everything they do. And I tell you, it was one of the funniest things. Benjamin grew like crazy at one point. And I was aggravated because I'm not poor Benjamin never had the coolest stuff. I'm like, just because I can buy it doesn't mean I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
You go play. That's what you do, not the cleats you wear, not whatever else. So anyway, when I did rarely have to buy him new cleats, he would hand them down and somebody'd be pumped because he outgrows cleats in a year. And then I laugh. My son would be excited to get somebody else's cleats that they handed down because they were the cool cleats that I wouldn't buy him. So, but anyway, that's just kind of the, the whole purpose of getting somebody into a team with a coach and a new network and a new circle of people. And you don't know what's going to come of it, but if you got good people around, chances are it's going to work out good for them.
Yeah, that's the part I remember, and that's the part I'm trying to make sure that every kid here in this community gets that chance to do.
Absolutely.
And definitely builds their confidence. We coached, little league and stuff like that. We always ran across a couple kids who didn't have a mitt.
Yeah.
And, it's obviously, whatever, they're 7, 8, 9, however old they are, it's it's an embarrassment for the kid.
Right.
You'll show up to a first practice and, hey, coach,
Sure.
I'm the little Bobby here, but I don't have a mitt. But you could see like the distress.
Yeah.
And, we'd go out and we'd buy him a mitt. I mean, obviously, like you said, it wouldn't be, the Wilson A2000 or whatever, but it was something that,
Yeah.
it was functional. But just once they received the mitt, you could just see their confidence level and their approach on just the game elevate.
Sure.
And,
sure.
that's so much part of it is just your individual confidence
Right.
in that particular activity.
Yeah, I mean, some of the other programs, of course, is some of the schools, charter schools, stuff like that, that are still charging for a fee to get in. So we're making a difference from 5 to 17, 18. You know what I mean? And that's
You
from
said
Laughlin.
40,000 last year.
What's that?
40,000 last year.
In excess of 40.
I mean, that's
That's incredible.
do the math.
So,
that's
yeah,
a lot of folks getting a chance.
We were actually, doing up to $150 last year too, and we had to quickly. We've grown so much with the number of requests that we had to drop that back down to about $75 per child. That's not $75 per household. That's $75 per child, and that's that also puts a little bit of onus on the programs to find, like you're doing with some of your sponsorships and stuff like that, to bring that program up to speed to where you have that little bit extra money that can actually help us as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and listen, if we get the support, we'd love to continue to be able to grow that as expenses grow and things like that. But man, we really need the support.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lot to ask of a few businesses to carry the burden, but a little goes a long way with a lot of people. So
yeah, that's where the T sponsors for us really come in. I mean, we have some primary sponsors, of course, and I can go on all day about all the ones that do that for us. It's on the forums that we have, but they're getting something in return. A couple teams, when they put in a sponsorship, things like that. But the cusp of it is if you can just do $100 for a T sponsor, that really makes a difference. We always shoot for 100. That's $10,000 that go directly back to the kids. You know what I mean? There's nothing that comes off the top of that for us for expenses. That's directly to the kids themselves and to the organization. Oh yeah, here's our team registration form, and obviously you can see all of our primary sponsors on it. But this is for our golf tournament, and it's we have a Calcutta on Friday night. Those in golf know what a Calcutta is. There's a lot of money thrown around buying teams, which is a lot of fun. You get
the
dinner
game within the game.
Game within the game, yes. So a lot of fun on Calcutta night. Even if I don't play, I'll end up buying a team or two because I just want to be a part of it. This year I may not get to play because of some health issues, and then of course Saturday is our golf tournament, and Mojave Resort Golf Course is in fabulous shape right now. I've been there 3.5 years, and it is literally in the best shape I have seen it since I've been there. And I've played there for years, even prior to. My superintendent's done a phenomenal job. So it's $125 per player. If you're not one of our sponsors get free teams. But big shout out to Amanda Carling, first year doing an Eagle sponsor with us. Finley, of course, has always been there for us. Dot. And Longhorn and Electric, and the numerous Eagle sponsors that we have and par sponsors up there as well.
Yeah.
So
much appreciated, and I'm glad we get a chance to recognize you guys. We hope to see everybody out there golfing. Larry and I are going to golf competitively, as Larry hasn't golfed in a few months. I think this is my chance to get him.
yeah,
it's my only chance.
We're going to play one hole, and hopefully I can get
I'm going to
three swings out of my one hit.
Nudge him a couple times,
Get the leg wedge out, just kind of kick the ball out.
Taking advantage of them.
Yes. So then after this, we have May 1st is a bingo night. Sunrise Rotary puts on. We need support on that as well, either to come out to play bingo. We need raffle basket prizes. So if you want to donate even a raffle prize, that would be awesome.
And come out and play.
And bring some money. Because there'll be some silent raffles, things like that as well. It's a lot of fun.
Los Lagos is popping these days.
Yeah.
So they got that bingo night. I went out and saw Frank and the kid playing music. It was packed. That place was booming.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with their events.
Going on out there.
Yeah.
And as a fat guy, the pizza looked pretty good. I didn't get one, right? I had committed to dinner with my daughter that night. But the pizza looked pretty good. So when I go back out next time, I'm getting in on that pizza.
He's definitely getting
And
pizza.
I could speak, it's, I didn't have some of the best test results. The doctor said, well, don't drink, which I don't have a problem with. And he goes, watch your diet. I'm like, well, I'm going to have a problem with that.
yeah, I know. Listen, I know it's coming for me. trying to eat a little better, and I just can't wait for that one day a week when me and my daughter get pizza.
Oh.
Yeah. And so Ace Awards. So this year
Yeah.
we're having it at the Riverside Casino. Riverside has jumped in not only as a place for us to take it, but as a partner as well. So I'm really excited about the upcoming Ace
Is
Awards.
this breaking news?
Somewhat breaking news. It's been about a month now. We locked it in about a month
100%
ago
breaking
with
news.
Riverside. I'm excited about them doing our catering to the event and sponsoring the event. They're taking on a sponsorship as
Oh
well.
man, that's awesome.
So I'm really excited about.
Tell me a little bit about how that came about, because I know it was kind of tough. We're outgrowing the venue. We're, having to come up with new ideas. The expenses of things are starting to creep
Yeah,
up.
so always with Ace Awards, we're trying to break even. It's a break even opportunity for us to recognize the youth in the community, the coaches, the organizations, and teachers. And it's just became with 300 people coming to the venue, and we give out for every sponsor they get a table for 10. They also pay for the tables for the kids or the teachers that are the final three. So there's quite a bit of money that comes into that. The trophies themselves, the crystal trophies are, those are not cheap.
Right.
So, then we sell the remaining tickets to anyone that wants to come to the event singly. So it got in excess of $23,000 last year to do the event. And it was more than what we were able to bring in because of the cost of the event. So we started talking to Riverside First is who we went to and said, listen, we want to bring our event here, but we want you as a partner, not just a place to have our event. And Nancy and I went over and pitched it to them, and they liked the idea. They want to obviously be a part of this community as well, and they are. And they saw what we're trying to do, and they come back with a package that greatly reduces our cost overhead.
That's awesome.
And not to mention bought into even being not only a birdie sponsor at the golf tournament, but a sponsor of $1,500 for one of the sponsorships for one of the actual.
That's huge.
Yes,
I mean,
it was huge for
and
us.
if you've been to the event, it is one of the better events I've ever been to. First rate, the kids get dressed up, good presentation. I mean, it's a nice award show, and it's all about recognizing not just the kids in this instance, teachers, coaches, teams, community leaders. It's grown into a pretty special event. So
the first couple of years, not a lot of kids knew about it. Now kids are from middle school through high school know about our awards banquet, and they're I love seeing them all get dressed up, and they are just dialed in for this one moment.
I think it was I was out at Needles one day doing an athlete of the week, and what appeared to be a very young kid, I assume a middle schooler, was like, yo, I want to be athlete of the year. I want to get a trophy or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if he just saw it on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is cool. And I think, it's stressful trying to pull all these things off. And every once in a while, stuff like that happens. You're like,
it's
right,
all
this is
worth
pretty
it.
awesome.
Yeah. For me, from now until May 20th, which is that event, we have all three of our main things that we do are all back to back to back. And it's like, it's not the most ideal way, but it just has to fit as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's tough for me for the next couple of months, but in the end, when I see the stories and I hear the stories and I see the kids that we're helping, it's all worth it.
Yeah. And I'd like to get your impression of the event itself as an attendee versus us putting it on. We see it through this lens. I'm sure it's like every event. We know the one thing wasn't right and it's driving us crazy, or we know this didn't go the way we planned, or whatever it is. But we try to make it as smooth as possible.
Well, just from like my perspective, as like you said, as someone who was fortunate enough to have somebody who was a finalist and attended, just almost like the pre to the event, watching your child look like they're getting ready for prom or homecoming or a big event for school, and then another one of the participants that was Danica was in her group. They were friends, and they're, hey, what are you wearing? And it was just kind of like a night out for the kids. And but when we got there, it was just the amount of community people and leaders that we saw, who were part of, whether it be through sponsorship or there to support one of the finalists, and then just like you kind of discussed, it's not just about athletes; it's about the teachers, the organizations, the different groups. And so much of that, just outside looking in is, there wouldn't be an Emily if there wasn't an organization like the Barracudas or teachers or, civic leaders and stuff like that. I mean, so it's just so much more that it just shows like a chain of what it takes to, make a successful child in the community, especially in a smaller community. It's so important, there's not 2 million people to tap into, you got to be real dialed in with, the community and the leaders and the teachers and what have you. And I was just like, wow, this is pretty cool, and just seeing everybody honored and, just seeing the people who were nominated and the winners, the emotion, was it the softball coach's family, I guess the coach that had some medical issues and was able to attend, and just seeing how much, it meant for them to be up there. I know, just speaking, just from personal experience, for Emily, it was like, wow, all this hard work I've put in over the years, it's, I don't want to say a validation, but like this, just something to show that, God, people noticed, and, the hard work does pay off. Whether, obviously she didn't win that award, but she felt great just being a participant in that, and as a finalist.
Looks good on the resume too. And you say finalist of the ACE Awards, and it's like, oh, what is that? You can talk about it.
Well, and the stories are what get us. Whether it be like Emily, who has accomplished so much, and getting an opportunity to be recognized out of 3 out of the entire community is huge. And you're talking about Coach Sandy from Needles, probably,
right?
And in Needles, he's a legend, right? Here, a lot of people learned about him. He's got a coaching tree of his daughters, other people. Now he's got players who are coming back into the world. He's put a lot of kids into this, softball program. And to learn about that and be able to recognize someone like that is huge. We've done some Lifetime Achievement Award for teachers, 30, 40 years in the school system here. And
I enjoy that one. It's one we like. It's not an every year thing, but when it comes, you know it when we're interviewing that there's someone that is deserving of a Lifetime Achievement Award,
right?
And we try to do that, but it's
it's not an official category. But it seems like we come across someone special every year.
And those are the people who, like you said, quietly affect hundreds, even thousands of kids over the course of their 30 or 40 years. And it's, again, small community, and, just based off of the percentages, that's a big chunk of Bullhead City, Mojave, Laughlin, is just that one teacher had that effect on that many people.
Yeah. So it's funny. Mr. Green, I think, was our first. And then I don't remember if Mr. Evans was a nominee or if Mr. Evans got an award. He's 30, 40 years at Mojave. I experienced both of them in high school. And so then to hear them talk about the journey and the evolution of kids, the schools, where they're at. They were not at the end of their careers when I had them. This was a couple of years ago. And for me to be a former student now in this position, seeing them where they're at, it really opened my eyes to be more appreciative of someone who did 30 years. Like you talk about 30 years, how many kids in each classroom? I mean,
25, 30.
Oh my gosh, the impact you had.
It's unbelievable how many people that they've youth that are now adults in this community still that have been affected by them. It's
absolutely.
You can't give teachers enough credit. I mean, you really can't.
No,
coaching and teachers, those. They're the ones that are molding the youth, not just the parents. I mean, they're spending 8 hours at school, 2 or 3 hours a day with the coach, and you're getting an hour and a half that they're home doing homework and they're going to bed, or you got them on the weekend. So they're spending as much time with the teachers and the coaches than they are with yourself.
Well, and you figure from a coach's perspective is, being in a small town, 3, 4, 5 hour trips for a game. So, I mean, your child, your athlete is with that coach for, 10, 12 hours sometimes on top of the school.
Circuit is a bit much in this area. We see it at all levels. I mean, so many of these teams play league games in Phoenix, but then you have occasionally Malk or Needles who travel 8, 9 hours for a game sometimes.
Right.
And you're talking about spending a lot of time together and having a huge impact on people.
Those are some of the things I remember most about being in high
bus
school.
Trips.
I was bus trips. I was in Europe, of course, freshman, sophomore year, and to travel to,
Oh, what are you working?
Work is wearing me
Jeez,
out over
this
here.
guy.
Traveling to Europe or Germany and 2-day trips on
Yeah.
buses with just some of the fondest memories. And I'd like every kid to experience those type of trips. You know what I mean?
So I moved here 11 or 12 years old. First year was brutal. I think I've told you this story. I've told the story many times. And sports is where I made my friends. You know, in the just day-to-day things, it was tough. I was like the only kid not from California or from Bullhead City. I was from Western Pennsylvania, very different world. And I just saw a thing come up on the internet, and it was like 30 years ago or 35 years ago, Tupac's double disc All Eyes on Me album came out. And I was like, no, that can't be right, because I wasn't allowed to listen to that music. My buddy Tommy Messina had it, though, and he'd let me listen to it on bus trips.
Yeah.
And that was where, and then I did the math on time and this and that. And, but here we are, 43 years old, literally 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember.
Yeah, sports opened up all the doors for me, because I was an Army brat, and I went to more schools than grades. That's what I always say. It's like some of them a couple times, but at different times. I was like, 4th grade, 6th grade at the same school. But having sports in my life is how I made friends quickly. You know what I mean? You walk in the door and it's basketball season, and it's like you can play basketball. You immediately got 10 friends because they're your teammates all of a sudden.
Right.
So I just think it opens so many doors for you to interact with other kids and have the same goal. You know what I mean? Which is something that we talk about in the business life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're working as a team in whether it be Finley, at the golf course for us, whatever. But teaching that to the youth is what sports does for them.
Yeah.
And if they don't have it, they come unprepared into real life when you're expected to work side by side with somebody for the same goal. You know what I mean? So big important for me.
So I wanted to ask you, and I'd love both perspectives. What's your favorite part of the Aces?
The hardest part, it ends up being the best part, and that's the interview process. So the interview process is 3 days of grind, running from school to school, trying to keeping an open perspective, knowing that the first kid you interviewed isn't not to take away from him because the last one you did. So it's like taking good notes, being objective, but listening to the stories. Yeah. That is by far, you got to dig in to get it out of them sometimes, but when you do get it out of the coaches, the teachers, the kids, you get the story behind them. That's the favorite part for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should probably give a shout out to the committee that does it, because they commit better part of 3 days to go and interview all these kids to make this happen. And we all know professionally that's very challenging to pull off. I'm very grateful that Finley allows me the time to do it. But it's a big commitment to go out and do that whole thing. Now, in a different seat, what did you like about the Aces?
Well, like I mentioned before, it was just seeing the community involvement, and you kind of have, I would say Academy Award or Grammys like feel to it, where everyone's sitting at a table, and then, they say, okay, and then the nominees for this award, and, obviously being a small community, a lot of these kids and families and teachers and what have you. And you kind of look around and you could see, I'll say the anxiety, but like the God, please call my name, and, obviously, from my perspective, I had a few finalists at my tail, but then, you kind of look around because, like I said, a lot of these are like your extended family, but just seeing like the anticipation and, the excitement, and it's, then having the winners go up there and, like you said, you interview these, nominees and get to hear their stories and, just, having, to see the emotion of what it meant for them to win that award. I think, and I don't recall what organization won the organization of the year, but just seeing the president up there, like a kid in a candy store, he was just so excited. And he could probably have talked for 3 hours, if he wanted to. And just seeing that is it's a really good feeling.
I think we should put like a time ceiling and basement on, because sometimes people just go up there and they're like, "Thank you," and they leave.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, we allotted more time than that.
You got 6 more minutes."
Yeah. And then some people go up there and you're like,
"Yeah,
all right."
Right. I think even some of our sponsors have gone a little overboard a few times, but it's like you need something there going, go to break.
Yeah, or put a little person in the back with a flag or something.
Well, it's kind of funny because my daughter's very into video, like with her sports. I mean, she would watch herself, and she's like, well, do I need to write a speech? So I went back and found an old ACES Awards. I said, here, watch this. So you can kind of, when you're writing, if you win, have your speech made out, but this is kind of, your time frame.
I love
So,
that.
so it was kind of like she was, studying, so we'd make sure she wasn't one of those who, thanks, or she wasn't one of those like, when the lights go out and then, they're pulling her off stage. They start playing that music.
Just starts going.
Yeah, so not to take anything from Shane and I when we're up there because we're just ad-libbing most of the time. I do have bullet points of sponsors that I need to make sure of, but the rest of it.
And I treat everything the same. I'm like, this is what I think about it. This is what I know about it. I'm very fortunate that I'm involved, so I can speak pretty freely. But I will ramble. You give me a chance to ramble, I will ramble like a champ. So, but we added a category this year.
So yes, we split the leadership award up.
Okay, so a little bit of background. We had initially the thought was we're just going to do a athlete of the year, and then we're like, well, it's too much. Let's do a male-female athlete of the year. And then we found in other categories a similar issue. There's a lot of people to recognize.
Yeah, scholastic athlete. We thought if we're going to do male-female athlete of the year, and we do scholastic athlete, we should be doing a male and female as well.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that. And do we have a sponsor for that already?
I don't know where we're at on sponsor. I think we're about 2 or 3 short. Maybe
Danielle,
we
save us.
We are one less now. But the leadership award. Again, this was one that we did not have split. And to narrow it down to 3, when we saw so many opportunities of kids that step up as leaders, not just in sports, but in the community and in school organizations that they're in. And it just felt like there's an opportunity here to have 6 nominees now, not just 3. Break it up as a male-female leadership of the award.
And it's so competitive.
Yes.
And especially because you probably have some thoughts on this. Leadership is very different in a lot of different ways. Sometimes you're talking about a team captain. Sometimes you're talking about someone who's just a leader by what they do or what they have done. Sometimes, that leader goes above and beyond. They, decide to organize their team and off-season workouts and take someone under their wing and do this and do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always show up the same. So it's really hard category to judge. And also very hard to...
You look at the resume and, they're the president of student council and they're involved with so... It's like, how do they even pull all of this off and do school and play sports? But, they're just... they're donating their time back to the community, and it's like, and not just themselves, they're bringing the group with them that they're leading, and it's like, that's the part that gets me is just how much the kids in this community are actually giving back to the community already. That's already instilled in them by the time they're out of high school, and really awesome. That's the ones we're interviewing, and that's the ones that will choke you up quicker than anything. It's just like what they're willing to do, not just for their own good, but for the community good and for the other youth that are around them. You know what I mean? It's really, really neat.
So obviously, I'm sure you have some thoughts on leadership in general, but also, I mean, you've lived it as a parent.
Well, it's one of those things where a lot of times at a younger age, you don't really have the kids, maybe because of the comfort level and because the respect, and they feel that maybe that's more of the coach's job to be a vocal leader. But what I've seen a lot is the quiet leader. Hey, get a couple kids together, or whoever wants to participate. Hey, let's just go down on an off day and work. Yeah. Or just the whole lead by example. Through the swim program, there was kids who they would talk amongst themselves, and they'd go down to the pool and do lap swim, outside of practice, and the other kids notice that. Yeah. Or, the kids who work hard at practice, they're not big rah people or, barking at the other athletes. But when kids see that, and then they're able to see, hey, these 2 athletes, these 3 athletes or whatever, they're the ones who are successful. Yeah. And then it just, normally it just bleeds into the other participants, and then they see that, and then naturally
they take that role.
Right.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times I think leadership is a natural thing that, you don't need a bunch of yelling and screaming. I mean,
Yeah.
people who see me as a coach are thinking, dude, that's not James. He's a yeller and a screamer, But as far as from the athlete's perspective, I think just taking it upon themselves to lead by example. And to me, that's like probably one of the best leaderships you can have is just by example and by just results.
Yeah.
Yeah, like looking at some of the like school organizations and what I see with, you have a senior that's now the president, but you have freshmen coming in and they're now part of that student council. And we see them 4 years ago, and then 3-4 years later, they're the ones speaking to us after they've been nominated. And it's like the growth. And when you ask them, how did you become a leader? And they harken back to someone that was there 2-3 years ago that took them under that wing and brought them up to feel confident about speaking to us and stuff like that. So yeah, they pass it down as well. The good leaders will pass down that opportunity.
So my timelines are really bad. When did we start doing this? Do you remember who our first male athlete of the year was?
First athlete of the year, I believe it was from Malk. It was
it a Neil kid?
It was Neil Kidd.
Was it?
Yes.
God, I can't.
Yeah,
keep track.
they. I'm not gonna lie, they're all running together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. So that's the year that we made Malk basketball the team of the year. They lost in the championship, which doesn't take away from them.
Right.
And the girls softball team at River Valley won state championship.
During the
They were
event.
playing during our event.
Yes.
We zoomed them in. And yes, and then the next year we reversed it. River Valley girls actually got the the award. Malk won the state championship and didn't get the team award. But it didn't take away from either one of them.
Right.
Just
No.
our timeline is what our timeline is, and
That's
it's
great, horrible story.
Yeah.
But it was a super fun moment. Of course, we had technical issues. Like it was a mess. But it falls right at the end of baseball, softball postseason. And because of the timeline of graduation and school getting out and things, it's really a tough decision.
We have a book to put together, and
we gotta make that decision weeks in advance.
Yeah.
So that's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, and I wanted to tell you because I have heard some stories of kids now coming back who were former winners and things. Now they're either coaching or helping at other schools, and they got little brothers that are coming up that are in the same thing. And it's kind of cool to see it become, a little bit of a legacy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. That's the things that we talked about with, them coming up through our sponsorship program and seeing them get to a point where they're being nominated for something or going to like the fire program and then coming back and giving back to the community. So and it's like that stuff's really, that's us making a difference, and we're not here to pat on the back, but we can see that we're making a difference in the community now with some of the stuff.
One
that
of
we're
the early ones at the field house, I believe the Firebirds were nominated. They were all young.
doing.
I don't know how old everyone was, but I have a picture. I think my son, maybe John Williams, were wearing cowboy hats for whatever reason. And I think there's like 6-7 kids in that picture. And I believe all of them, except maybe one, are either in or went and played college football.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much it all played a factor or whatever else, but collectively, the support and the community, the teams, the coaches,
The infrastructure.
they are what makes sure these kids get where they're going.
Yeah.
And I think one of them was Deacon, who we talk about looking at kids that are taller than you now. I met Deacon as a young man. He's a senior at River Valley. He's got an athletic scholarship to go play at Jamestown. And he ain't as big as I am now. But he's in that picture. I think he had like perms were in for kids. He had, his blonde hair permed, sunglasses, dressed nice, and, we'll see how things go. I hope he gets a chance to come back as a senior at some capacity, whether it be for his team or himself or whatever. And it would be a really fun moment to see that come full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else, Aces Traces, that we wanted to talk about?
No, just the dates. And again, like business owners, you know, the $100 sponsor, sponsor, you know, reach out to me, reach out to anybody that's on my board, Shane, Danielle. I have a great board, Jamie McCorkle from Needles, Nancy Novak, Heidi Smith. They're all community leaders. Reach out to any of them, Mike Lewick, and you know, just do a T-sponsor for us. Donate a basket if you're a business. Those are things all that we could use for the raffle prizes at the golf tournament, at the Cinco de Mayo, bingo night, and then of course our ACE Awards on May 20th at the Riverside. We still could use a couple more primary sponsors. So, and James, thank you for jumping in. I'm glad you enjoyed it so much and made enough impression that you wanted to be a part of this.
This is a pleasant surprise. Obviously, we talked about it right before we came on. It's super cool, and man, what a great moment we get a chance and say thank you. We don't always, and sometimes, you know, sponsors are busy. They don't make it to the events or they don't get to see the kids or whatever, but I can say thank you. It means a lot. You know where it's going, and hopefully we can continue to support one another going forward. We do have a couple quick. For one, my buddy I went to play high school football with is commenting, and he said Coach Millen Walk didn't have very big biceps, though, kind of small. So it's kind of funny. I will certainly.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but we
Internet
played.
troll.
Yeah, we played. When Coach Walk was, you know, he was a young man when he coached us, and he was jacked. He was buff, short guy, buff, and so.
Like Coach McKee.
Yes, yeah. And so we gave him a real hard time. Marissa Briscoe, Barracuda, she's doing very well. I think she's doing very well in college, if I understand correctly. Let's see. One source might be donated for all the different sports. If you reach out to just Traces in general, it will go to a fund. It will get distributed accordingly. I guess maybe a better question is, if somebody wants to donate specifically to one group, can they? Can they say, hey, here's $500. I want to go to Bullet City Little League?
Yes, we can. You got to be careful because you know, if it's someone in particular or whatever, because it's called a run through basically, and you don't do that as a 501c3.
Yeah.
But yes, if somebody wants to donate $500, can I assure that this will go to Bullet City League? You know, we'll make sure that they're going to get more than that anyway from us. We're typically handing out checks from $1,500 to $3,000 to some of these organizations before the end of the year, before the time's all done. So no, absolutely, yeah.
What involvement can kids get involved with 9 through 12? Plus, it's needed for college apps. I think there's a ton of stuff in school groups that are probably better for that. But the school groups are super supportive of us and everything we do, whether it be sports, ACEs, Traces, volunteering, all those things. That's probably a little bit. Heidi's watching, who would not come on the show.
She'll watch though.
Yeah.
I thought about giving her a hard time, but she was pretty locked into Mickey pitching last night, so I didn't think it was a good time to give her a hard time.
No, I love Heidi. She's very supportive. She's very good at the interview process. She's well organized. Just didn't want to come on camera. So I know.
Listen, I promise you, nobody wants to see us on here. You should have came on and at least said hi.
Yeah.
It's actually, we should probably shout out the people involved. We do have a great group that support this year round on the board. A little bit of a different group for the committee and interviews, but
there's some, you know, Gary Reynolds, he runs my golf tournament every year, and not just mine. He does most of the nonprofit tournaments in the area. huge part of what we do. He goes out and gets us half of our sponsors at least, you know, and so I can't say thank you enough, Gary. Our board, Daniel Fontenot, Heidi Smith, Mike Lewick, Jamie Faring. I'm going to miss somebody. Shane Pollock, Nancy Novak. Is that 7? Did I get them all there?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't register.
Everybody brings their own.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, they all bring something to the table, which, you know, is really what we need. And I couldn't be happier where we're headed with Traces. We have got very good funding, and we needed it. We started out with good funding and weren't giving out a lot of sponsorships only because we weren't out there. But now that we've gotten out there, it's twofold now. It's like last year we actually put out more money than we brought in. That's where my concerns really started saying we're not going to be a long time viable unless we start coming up with other ways to make revenue and make sure that we are donating correctly to the right organization.
And we want to keep that culture going. We have such a strong youth sports culture in town. And I can tell you, I see it from the people asking Finley for donations.
Mhm.
It's stressed. It's stressed all the time for
Mhm.
coaches, for
Sure.
resources. You know, there's probably 4 new teams that popped up every year,
Yeah.
and it's hard to support them all, and that spreads
Yeah.
everything thin.
So one thing that we did start doing in the last 3 years is that we started telling the treasurers, presidents of the organizations, like, make sure that whoever we're sponsoring, that the parents can donate their time to your organization. It's made a big difference. Boys and Girls Club, for example, could not get enough coaches, people to work in concessions. Just from what we were doing with them and getting people to sign up, as they're signing up their kid for a sponsorship, they're signing up saying, yes, I will help in the concession. I will help coach.
Yeah.
They filled their coaching, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's great. That's
you know,
awesome.
You know, and if they don't have the time to do that, probably because they don't really need the money either. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So it kind of helped with that. But yeah, that's something I think is going on now too, that it's working out nicely. So getting the parents involved into these organizations.
So, off subject, things are booming at Mojave Resort. Course looks great.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause
getting 3 calls since we've been
Because
here.
I haven't
It's like-
played there to butcher the fairways in a while. How about you? What's going on in the real estate world? Is the
Well-
world ending? Is the world booming? What's happening out
Well,
there?
I mean, it's kind of just flat, stagnant.
Mhm.
It just, it's a lot of obviously things, and not getting into politics and stuff like that. Just right now, the interest rates are coming down a little bit, which is encouraging, from a buyer perspective. But there's just a lot of things that need to be leveled out over the last 4 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're definitely seeing an uptick in sales. Fortunately, I closed, I think, 4 big vacant land sales out in Golden Valley.
Oh, nice.
But just, it's a lot more, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's like you list a house and 10 offers would be in the first couple days,
Right.
and basically, you just, pick whatever one you want. Now, you got to be a lot more dialed in, specific, with what you're doing as far as, listing, the listing price of the house, how it's presented. Like I said, years ago, you know what? Yeah, it cost me 20 grand. I'll get the thing fixed up. It'll look great. Now it's like, I don't have 20 grand to fix it up. So
Right.
what I'm paying for this house is what I can afford.
Right.
So, just hopefully the interest rates will keep dropping, and then, buyer confidence will start coming back. Cause, an example, the interest rates, people don't really realize it until they get into the actual process. And I had a house I had sold, it was a personal house I sold in Utah, where just in 3 years, the person who bought the house payment almost doubled because of the interest rate.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough.
So
I got mine at 2.9% when it was really low.
Listen, you just pissed off so many people, Larry.
Yeah.
trust me, that was the hardest part of selling a house. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I was at 3 when I sold. I'm like, gosh, I'm not going to get 3 again for who knows when.
So I refinanced my house when things were dropping, and I was like, this is as good as it's going to get. And then it got better for like another year. And I was like, I should.
Yeah, I actually refied
I
a
should've
year
done it
later
one more
only
time.
because it just kept dropping, and it just made sense. Well, if I live in the home, do the math. If I live in the home for 7 more years, it's going to pay off here. So I did all that math, and 2.99.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on in that. I feel like we haven't had a 6-month stable moment in this world since COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just always one thing after the next. And what's really wild is we're busy as could be.
Yeah.
I mean, we sold 10 cars yesterday. We did 155 last month, which is growth over the previous year. But if you look at it, you just think the world's ending every day. And
So it's crazy in the golf industry is COVID was a major benefit to the golf courses because you play by yourself or within small groups.
Oh, yeah.
People started playing golf because they couldn't do anything else.
And you're outdoors.
Yeah, and you're outdoors. And so, it was a big spike in golf in 2020. And it's still, and it didn't stay at that spike, but it's continued to rise because all those people learned how to play golf during that time, that they're still playing golf. So the golf course industry just continuing to tick up, which is a really good sign,
Very exciting.
Yeah.
What about snowbirds? I know you guys got to go. Are you still seeing snowbirds?
Oh,
Yeah.
To the same levels it was?
I mean, Canadians, Minneapolis area, Dakotas. Yeah, we still got them. I mean, KOA right next to the golf course still fills up, and they're all snowbirds. So,
I mean, can't you tell by the speed limit on the 95?
not going to go there.
I can. I will tell you this, though. I saw that they're tearing down the median on the
Yeah.
95, and that made me all warm and fuzzy. But I'm sure, I think that's the city doing that, so it won't get out to Fort Mojave. Getting into here, the used car center, depending on which direction you're going, is a nightmare. There's an accident once a week.
Aren't they tearing out all of the center dividers now finally out here?
I don't think I think the city's doing it, right?
Well, I
So
saw
think
it
once it
like
stops at the city, I think they're going to leave the other ones. I don't know.
one of the others doing it. I'm not sure, just because
That's the important stuff we got to talk about. Who's running the city? We got to talk to Toby.
Yeah,
We'll get him on
yeah.
here. So I've asked Toby to come on here a bunch of times for fun stuff, and I think he knows I'm gonna trap him with some.
Yeah.
What are we doing with these damn median dividers?
Toby and I, I've had some conversations when I was at the paper, especially. So yeah, I mean, he's doing. I think he's doing a phenomenal job, obviously, in the community. They got a lot done here, but
It's like anything, man. It's a tough job. You cannot make everybody happy,
No.
but if you can get the center medians out there, I'd be happy. So.
then you would be happy. At
I'd be
least,
happy.
yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So
But no matter what, I'm just one thing I'm just excited that our swim season's getting ready to start.
yeah. But you guys essentially swim almost year round, right? Because the pool is heated,
Well,
heated-ish.
so what we do is 1st of April through April, we have what's called the Barracuda Gold. And those are our older swimmers, our experienced swimmers. And then starting in the 1st of May through July is when the younger swimmers come in, and then that's our swim season.
Oh, okay.
So we swim from April to July, end of July. We end right before the school goes back in the session. And then at that point, high school swims from like August to November. So, obviously if you're a high school age swimmer, you essentially swim from April till November. But if you're not in high school yet, then your season's only from April to July.
And you were telling me you guys are currently prepping for a big race swim event you guys do in Utah.
Yeah, this will be our 3rd year. We were able to find, and it's funny because I located it because my son went to Southern Utah University. So when I was looking for other events to
Is that St. George?
Cedar City,
Cedar City.
I started kind of calling around, and I got a hold of the swim director at Cedar City, and they have the Utah Summer Games out of in Cedar City at the university. And I've actually seen, and it's just for other leaders of organizations for sports in the area. They have soccer, softball. I mean, pretty much every sport. I don't know. Do you know the KK Naswinger?
Oh, yeah.
When Emily was up there swimming, we went and watched KK play softball.
Yeah. I went to high school with her folks.
Okay.
So.
And but yeah, just
we're all in the same age bracket.
Some of you are.
It's a great event. I think they actually it used to be 4 days. I got to talk to the director. I think it's down to 3, but it's basically our kids get to compete in the Utah Summer Games.
Right.
And it offers a couple different pools. Just people who swim know. I mean, there's a yard pool and a meter pool, and they have a long course pool, which a lot of the kids who've never swam it, their first impression like, I can't see the other end of the pool, and that's 1 lap.
Yeah.
Where they're used to swimming 2 laps
Yeah.
to get to a 50, where this is a 50.
Yeah.
So I mean, you wouldn't think about it. Oh, they're still swimming the same distance, but it's a lot more difficult to swim that one straight lap.
Oh, yeah.
Because
You kick, you don't get.
you don't get the break on the turn.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you would think, oh, you just get the momentum going, you just cruise right through it, and the times are actually a little bit slower on the 50 long course than they are on the 50 short course.
Yeah. I wouldn't think that either.
I wouldn't even thought about it. I honestly didn't even know. It's funny. I do all these athlete of the weeks, and I played a lot of sports. I've watched a lot of sports. Very once in a while, I go and I'll interview swim or cheer, of which I have no clue what's going on.
It shows when you.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, fill me in. If we're talking football, I probably watch the game.
Yeah.
I'll, very comfortable, and I'll ask these poor, like, so what happened? And then you did what? And so I feel bad. I apologize, but
Well, it's funny thing about swim is, a lot of my daughter's friends, whether it be teammates or friends. You're a swimmer. Would you sit like in a floaty chair with a koozie?
Yeah.
Throwing a football back and forth, and they'll actually sign up.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, oh, where did little Sally go? Oh, no mas.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah.
it takes it's a special. Every sport has takes something special, but I wasn't a swimmer until Emily got into it, and I've learned so much. And hey, how hard is it just to kick your feet and move your arms? And I swam a lap one time in a race.
The Winter Olympics are a great example of there's greatness in all kinds of things. I don't know what makes a luge person an Olympic luger, but I'm sure it's something I don't possess, whatever that is, you know.
I think they're doing too many cross country things because the Norwegians win the Winter Olympics every year, and 90% of it is in cross country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you're not going to get a lot of that out
Yeah.
here. So
It-
we don't have exactly the climate for winter athletes to
Yeah.
grow. So
I guess when you have to cross country down to the store
Yeah.
to get some groceries and then put them on your back is
Well, a lot of those events, just like, kind of, I was just talking about the swim is, dude, you're on a sled.
Mhm.
You're sledding. Is that an Olympic event? Riding a sled?
the question
there's
I
some
always
dragon in
have-
that. I've
Yeah.
learned found out. Yeah.
I've wrecked enough on sleds to know.
Yeah.
But the question I always have is like, who came up with the first of that super high alpine ski jump?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're flying hundreds of feet.
Yeah.
And you're like, somebody was just like,
168
hold
meters,
on.
yeah.
I think I can fly 100 feet coming down this mountain, you know.
Yeah.
Landing on two,
This
5-inch
jackass
rails?
before there was cameras.
Yeah.
Someone 200 years ago started flying through the air with their skis. Like,
Yeah, I remember when that came off the ground. It was, I can't remember the guy's name, Crazy George or something. It was from Brazil. They, made the team because nobody else wanted it. And
yeah.
he was like jumping 100 feet, but
It's
it was
like
like,
the Jamaican bobsled.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jamaica bobsled team.
Exactly.
Same type
So-
thing, so crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, fellas, I appreciate it.
One more thing before you go.
Well, let me get my volume on here. We wanted to go over the sponsorship page for you, so you
Oh,
can get.
Barracuda sponsorship?
Yeah, try to get some sponsors for these guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. Go ahead, talk about it.
So we do offer different sponsorship packages, and some of them are tied in with the high school. So our normal Barracuda season is from April to the end of July, but we do have like the 750 package and I believe the 350 package. They actually, the sponsorship runs also with the Mojave High School team. And with the 750 package, we have a banner up at the pool for the swim seasons. And then also we put the advertisement on our programs. All of our kids get a shirt, and all of our sponsors are on the shirt. Now, I mean, those are 4 different packages we offer. A lot of the local, businesses, especially some of the big box stores, times are different. You just can't go in there and have, someone just cut you a check or.
Oh, I know.
But what a lot of, like Home Depot, Lowe's, they'll give us water or Gatorade for like our swimmers or for our swim meets where, we're strictly all volunteers, and even the volunteers at the swim meets. So like when they're there timing, I mean, it's, you're there for 8-9 hours sometimes out there, in the
Not in the water.
120.
Sweating.
So we always like to keep them hydrated. We keep them fed. So a lot of the businesses, they won't just say, hey, here's $500. They'll say, hey, take 15 cases of water. So, if that's something that, you can't do as far as a financial sponsorship, we definitely do take items, water, Gatorade, food, and then we use that and turn around and give that to our volunteers at the meets and to the kids. So, anyone have any questions? Like I said, you can go on our website.
We'll drop some of them flyers in the comments so people can find them. And
Yeah.
Email us.
Or email, and then
there you go.
my number is 928-542-8146. If anyone has any questions on sponsorships or
I'll let you do a house pitch right there.
hey, I'm here to talk about the kids today.
What if you need a house?
But if you need a house and if you need a pool to help your kids swim,
We just talked to some of the guys, some of the salespeople, and we talked about how you got to always be looking for opportunities to market yourself,
right,
this and that. And so I just laugh and I was like, and if you need a car, that's how we do it.
Sure.
Everywhere you go, all the time.
I know my wife's like, it's about the Barracudas.
Listen,
it
it's
is.
all intertwined. When
Yeah.
it's your lifestyle,
Yeah.
your job, the charities you work with. I mean, it's all intertwined. It really is. It's hard to separate sometimes.
Definitely. I mean, they overlap constantly,
But-
constantly. For
I
us.
mean, I've been a sponsor for the Barracudas for 7-8 years now. Even before I was the president, I had a banner up there, and because it's a program. Obviously, I've seen the results, and it's just like you guys feel about the aces and traces. I feel very strongly about the Barracudas and what it does, for the community and the kids. And we have multiple kids who are swimming collegiately. Or it gives another option to help pay. Like I said, Emily didn't go to college, but she had that opportunity if she wanted to, and just giving that opportunity to kids.
To save lives.
Yeah,
Passionate people doing passionate things. That's what we.
but
have,
I mean,
so.
you mentioned Marissa's doing well at college. Gavin was someone who swam, who graduated last year. He's swimming, swam at college, and we have a couple kids, I believe, we'll probably make an announcement sometime before the end of the year who will be swimming collegiately
That's
who are
great.
in our program. So
Yeah, and I think I've told anyone who will listen. I know we don't have like the same newspaper coverage we once did. I don't get Nancy mad at me.
Don't do that.
I wanted to post my stuff, so please, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to get mad at me. She's one of my favorite people, so I got to tread lightly. But we do try to support and put that stuff out there on our Instagram page for all these kids, just because we know what an accomplishment it is. It deserves to be recognized and celebrated, and as a community, we're very proud of these accomplishments. So.
And if I could quickly just give a thank you to the Kiwanis. They're someone who's donated to our program, and we've used that money to help our kids, especially with that Utah swim meet that I was discussing earlier. And the Elks also makes a contribution. And they also give our kids an opportunity to do some of their fundraising events where they have their parties, and then our kids will go down and serve. Serve the party, and then people, they just leave the tips and whatever tips help the kids. And I know both those groups do so much, whether swim, soccer, baseball, they do a lot in the
down
community.
To the Elks a couple times when we had some football guys for Student of the Month, and great group of folks down there. So.
Yeah, I've known Walt we worked together at Home Depot. That's where I met Walt about 25 years ago.
Yep. They're kind of off the radar, not as public as everybody else, but they a bunch of good folks down there.
Great organization, yes.
Yeah, very cool, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Sir.
for bringing me on.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the support. It's a
Pleasure.
pleasure. And congratulations on having a lifesaver, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you again, James.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate
forward
it,
to
guys.
it.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Welcome to Findlay Chevrolet GMC. Dependable Chevrolets, powerful GMCs, advanced technology, comfort, capability, friendly team, stress-free visits, certified service and quality you can trust. Visit us today.